Welcome to Moon Harbor Heroes. Today's issue is Hellspawn, Issue 5, Stranger in a Strange Land. On the cover, Faye and Supai stand before the Iron Tower on the fields of Hell. In the far distance, we can see a mountain covered with sharp-branched trees. At the edge of the cover, we can see a shadowy figure slowly approaching. We turn the page and our story begins.
We start on the beach. It's beautiful, it's sunny, the waves are crashing, and Cruz, you are laying in a beach chair underneath an umbrella, just watching the waves. What do you do on the beach? Are you reading? Are you eating something? Playing a game on your phone? What are you doing?
Probably just drinking a drink, looking out over the ocean.
Mm-hmm. I think traditionally you'd probably have been in a bathing suit, but you're in your superhero suit underneath this umbrella, and in the water there's a older male, an adult, kind of parental age, swimming with his back to you. He stands up, a familiar voice calls out to you, and it's the voice of Dark Mark. And he says, "Cruz, come on in, the water's great."
I don't know where I am mentally. Is this after everything?
I'm not going to give you any context. What do you do?
I stand up, just kind of stare out over, the look of shock.
Mm-hmm. As you look over, the figure turns, and it's still male torso in swim trunks, just a body, but it is not the mask of Dark Mark. It is the mask of Dark Rider. And as he turns, you just notice that there's just blood dripping down his chest and down his arms. And he waves and he's smiling pretty broadly. The Dark Rider mask, you usually can't see his face, but it's pulled up so you can see his mouth in this one. He's waving. He's "No, come on in. The water's fine." And as he's waving at you, the water turns into lava underneath him. And you just see his body start to burn as he's waving at you. And then you wake up to Faye shaking you. Being Cruz, you fell asleep while you were reading again. Babe, come on, you gotta get up. Hey. And she has pulled the book out from underneath you, so your head kind of slumped all the way to the ground, or to the table. And we pan back to see a full panel of the two of you in the library from the previous issue. The big stone library in Hell.
Excellent. So, pull myself up, get to my feet, and start pacing around the room a bit. A lot of nervous energy at this point, but not stuff I want to discuss. So, how's the research coming?
Why don't we roll to see how the research is coming? Why don't you go ahead and roll plus mundane? We'll do a vague custom roll here. Custom move.
4.
Plus your mundane is 0?
Everything but my superior is currently a 0.
Great. We haven't learned a lot. On the one wall that's not the bookshelf, there's a, scratched alphabet system where we think we've, deciphered some letters. And so, the whole wall is written, we've got our alphabet with, symbols that it could be written above it and, scratched in and then scratched out, other symbols written. It's a mess up there. We have a couple books down that have been, translated, but for the most part, it looks like we've deciphered what we thought were words, and there's some weird random poems that may be incorrect poetry, or may just not make sense at all. It's eagles flying through the ashen sky, and raining teardrops of blood, which all feels very in line, except then it's also lemons growing from hands of fire, and very weird things that we may have mistranslated. So we have a lot of information that may be incorrect. You look over and see Faye with just 4 books levitating around her, and I'm looking from book to book, and I'm okay, so I really thought this, and she points to a symbol, was the letter R, but it's clearly not the letter R. So, okay,
well, that changes a lot.
Yeah, I don't know what this means.
I think I'm picking up a pile of scrap paper that was next to me, but I think it's anyone astutely reading will notice that the scrap paper is just ripped out of other books. They're just pages with not many words in them that we've been using as scrap paper.
Mm-hmm.
Like title pages and such.
Yeah, like pages with sketches on them. We've like written on top of the sketches and written on top of the images. And I think we get a close-up of the two of us as I come over to like lean over your shoulder. And it just looks like we've been there for a while. You've got some like really dark circles under your eyes. Your cheeks are kind of sunken in. My hair is a mess. There's like the pink has like fully grown out to like, there's like 2 or 3 inches of dark root before you get to the pink. We're haggard.
I continued flipping through the book. I was looking through for a few more pages and set it down. I'm like, do we have any more of that roast rat?
I gesture over my shoulder to where we have like a small fire going, and the fire is clearly like burning books, like other texts that we're not using. And there's like a small rat roasting on a stick above it. And I'm like, it's all yours. I can't eat anything else today. Yeah. I sit down and rub my temples, and I'm like, my head hurts so bad I can't even telepathy right. I was going to pick it up for you, and it's just not working. Sorry.
Supai taking a couple bites of it. It's like, now that I've gotten used to it, it's not that bad. But it does bring up another problem. They're harder and harder to find, and I'm not even sure what else here we can eat.
Fig cracks like a wry smile and is like, I'd make a joke about pomegranates, but I'm too tired. Want to go back downstairs? Call it a day?
Yeah, sounds good.
I think we walk over to the hole, and like what once was probably a like sprightly flying down, we just kind of just like, I grab onto you, we just kind of sink. And we just sink down to the throne room, where as we get down there, there's clearly like what was once the backpack I was carrying that has now like been like ripped up to make like pillows. And there's some like furs from demons that we've used to like make blankets. And like, it's not clean, it's not sanitary. We don't really know how to make blankets or furs, but we've like made like little nests for ourselves behind some thrones.
I think my arm is still splinted up and in a sling at this point.
Yeah, I think we used the strap from the backpack to make a splint for you. So like that, you've got the like padding for what would be over the shoulders. And I'm like, all right, you want to take first watch? You got me too.
Oh, I just got some sleep, so why don't you?
Great. As I walk over, we see that the chains that were broken have been like mended badly with like fire. Like there's essentially a knot of metal where we like just welded like the 2 pieces of chain together as best as we can. And it looks like we're a little bit higher up. We can't see the outside from where we are, but the stone archway that opened up to the forge is now just facing like a dirt wall. And I curl up kind of behind the like bigger throne, the biggest throne where the King of Hell, as you have told me, sat in your dream or in your vision. And I like curl up. Are you keeping watch in the throne room? Are you keeping watch outside? Where do you want to keep watch?
Let's jump up to higher in the tower.
Cool.
The way I imagine is like we've raised up the tower enough that like the melted bit we've been getting in through is just a couple feet above the ground. So we kind of like crawl in.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I'm going to just kind of be outside of that. Just kind of wandering around the tower, keeping watch.
Cool.
I think in general, we've got the tower pretty safe.
We haven't ever seen like full zoomed out panel of what this like valley looks like. But this is a valley in between like massive mountains. We have left pretty clear trails of like where we have often gone. So like it looks like we've done a lot of time in those like steel woods we were talking about that were where the archway for our portal was. It doesn't look like we've done too much time going up the mountain. There's like a small path up there, but like these mountains seem like they're pretty heavily like wooded and dark and dense and kind of terrifying. That may be where we do hunting, but it's pretty clear. And as you're sitting there, you notice a shape over kind of at the base of one of the closer mountains. Vaguely humanoid shape darting between the trees.
I'm going to take cover as best I can, try to watch it.
Cool. You want to roll assess the situation?
Yeah. 6, 9.
9? Mm-hmm. Great. On a 7 or 9, you can ask 1.
Before I ask the question, like, in observing it for a bit, like, what do I see it doing?
It looks like it's watching you as much as you are watching it. Like, there's actually one point where the two of you make eye contact. This looks more humanoid than any demon we've seen so far. With the exception of the demons you saw in your vision, which, by all the estimates that you and I have made, we've assumed was, like, probably not their actual form, probably just, like, the closest thing your brain could put together of what their form looked like. Based on all the pictures of, like, what the demons look like, those were not demons.
Right.
This looks almost human. Dark, shadowy, big yellow eyes.
What here is in the greatest danger?
This creature's smaller than you and looks pretty scared. You can't see much of it. You can't see if it's too muscular, but it looks surprised to see someone here. And when you made eye contact with it, it like darted back into the shadows. So it might be in the greatest danger.
Okay. I think we get a couple panels of Cruz like, you know what? Screw it. And they just step out into the open and just wave.
The creature also steps out into the light. It's not really a creature, it's a person. It's a girl probably a couple years older than you, maybe 17. Short, dark hair, Korean American. And she kind of like waves back a little bit and then starts walking towards you. And she gets pretty close and then stops. So we get a panel of like the two of you far away. And the next panel is still a full, like, spread across the full page, but cross-section of you two bigger. And the next cross-section is you probably about 10 feet apart from each other, standing at the full length of the panel. And she's like, I don't know if I've officially lost my mind or not. Are you real?
I'm asking myself the same thing. How'd you end up here?
She blinks and her eyes are yellow. And she's like, I mean, I want to say it was an accident, but I also want to say that I'm an idiot.
I know that story.
Hi, I'm Shadowfell. And she puts her hand out.
I'm gonna shake their hand. I'm Supai.
And then she's like, that's a weird name, Supai. What does that mean?
It's unimportant. How long have you been here?
She looks around and she's like, well, days are weird because there's no sun. But I think I've been here for about a month. I just climbed over those mountains there. I was over in the next valley over.
Oh, we haven't been there yet.
Oh, it's much less quiet than over here.
Oh.
Snakes. Lots of snakes.
Over here, we've mostly been getting rats and anglerfish.
And she looks at you kind of quizzically, and she's like, anglerfish?
That's the best way to describe them, but they're, up there. And points upwards.
And as we point up, I think we get a panel zooming up, and then we get a flashback to a box that says, 4 weeks ago. And we see just, the heat of a battle with Faye and Supai fighting one of these massive anglerfish bird creatures. Can you just describe, 5 or 6 panels of what that looks like? We don't need to do any rolls. Just, we win this fight. Just tell us what it looks like.
I think this whole fight's midair. Even though we're sharing some powers, I don't think I fly. So I think we get, a start of, being drug along by Faye's telekinesis, and then, Faye launching me at it. And a couple panels. I like the idea of Faye, flying. Faye fighting it while flying, and Supai fighting it while on it. Splitting its attention between that.
Cool. And I think we see the, Supai just, send a blast of fire through it, and its, mouth opens, and then the panel, zooms in on the inside of the mouth, and then we cut back to the two of you standing there. And she's like, flying anglerfish, that's terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not great.
I met Medusa.
Well,
I think. I mean, it was a person with,
snaky hair?
Yeah, with, snake hair. Yeah.
Did you turn to stone?
No.
Wait, that's a dumb question.
She laughs, and she's like, she kind of looks surprised. She's like, I haven't laughed in a while. How did you maintain a sense of humor? And wait, what do you mean we?
I think at realizing that they've given out that information, they kind of Like their face completely changes. We've had Supai being like a bit of cautiousness, but much more like, oh my god, another person, and just excitement. And like at that, they kind of go stone faced, just like me. I said me.
You said me've been getting mainly rats?
It's been wild out here.
Okay, well, it's nice to meet you. And I suppose also you, if there's more than one of you. Can you clone yourself? What do you do?
Why are you in hell?
Right, so I can do this, and then she disappears and appears right behind you.
I am leaping backwards, like tendril flame whips out of my one good arm, I think left arm, and I like jump back when that happens.
Mm-hmm. And she's like, I can portal. I can, like, shadow step. And, there was this cult, and they were doing this, like, ceremony thing, and I tried to, like, investigate, but I got too close, and I tried to, like, portal out, and then something happened, and I crash landed in the snake pit in hell.
I'd like to roll to pierce the mask.
Go ahead.
I have 6.
Cool. That means she gets to take a 10 plus to pierce the mask on you, correct? That's what we've decided.
If you wanted.
Yeah, I think we're going to do that. I think she asked, what do you intend to do?
In regards to what?
With her. I think she's like, are you going to hurt me?
I think everything about my body language has shown that I desperately want to trust her. I'm just desperately happy to see someone else, but feel like I shouldn't because I just met her.
Mm-hmm. The second question, how can I get your character to trust me?
Frankly, it's be nice. Like, this I don't trust you is far more a act because Supai is worried Faye is going to give them shit for being too trusting than actually not trusting.
I love that.
I think that's accurate, too.
No, I think you're right.
Frankly, not attacking me for the next couple minutes, and I'm probably just going to start trusting.
Cool. I think she gets that. I think she kind of sees that in your personality, and she's like, look.
As she's, like, obviously not aggressive after the pour, like, I think the fire just dissipates out.
And then she's like, I like the fire.
And I think, yeah, I crack a big smile. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And she's like, is that how you've been able to, like, stay alive down here? Like, are you keeping yourself warm? I mean, it's not that cold, it's hell, but, you know.
Honestly, I think I'd be dead if we hadn't found this place. They point to the tower.
And then she kind of looks at you again, and she's like, you mean me? You mean if me hadn't found this place?
Okay,
right?
mine's too complicated. Yes, I have a friend.
She grins.
They're asleep right now.
She grins, and she's like, that's very, like, when a stranger knocks on your door, and you're like, oh, my parents are upstairs right now. How many friends are we talking?
Just one.
Oh, cool. Also superpowered?
Yeah. She's actually a lot stronger than I am, but yeah.
Cool. So you gonna... I mean, I guess this is a dumb question, but planning on leaving anytime soon?
If we can find a way. We have a library, but it's all in this just gobbledygook language, and we thought we had it figured out, but it turns out ours aren't ours. I don't know. We had a portal. It closed. We haven't been able to figure out how to open it up again. In hindsight, we probably should have brought the spell with us. I also think I shared a vulnerability.
Cool.
Just in that admitting that Faye is stronger.
Yeah.
When you share a moment of vulnerability or share a triumphant celebration without the other one present, mark a condition to mark potential.
You gonna mark potential?
Yeah, I'm going to.
Is that your last potential?
Yeah.
Nice. She grins, and she's like, you said you had a portal?
I think our next panel is Supai, like a close-up on Supai's face of just, like, complete confusion, and then a Oh, and then just a big grin.
And I think the scene ends there.
Good. I'm glad we were on exactly the same page.
Yep. And a scene, any clearing conditions you can do?
I think I have a case for hopeless.
Fling yourself into easy relief?
I think opening up to her this quickly.
Yeah, that's... Okay.
Because I think the choosing to trust her is far more, oh my god, I need to have some kind of connection and speak to someone that isn't fucking Faye, than it is, I legitimately should trust her.
Yep.
Like, frankly, her story seems like shit.
I think we get that grin, and then we get a dark panel, and cutting into that dark panel from a different panel is Faye yelling. And Faye is like, Cruz, how did you let someone in we have one job, keep this place safe, and you let someone... And just, like, walls and walls of text of her yelling. And I think, like, we get, like, interruptions of you, like, on top being like, no, but wait. And, like, it cuts into her bubble, but her bubble just keeps going. And then we cut down to her standing. It's, like, her, and then you, and then behind you is Shadowfell, who looks so uncomfortable by the situation.
I like that.
Faye finishes her tirade, and she's like, okay.
She got here because she was fighting against the cult.
Wait, like, the cult?
I think I turned to look at Shadowfell. Which cult?
And Shadowfell's like, oh, I don't know. There was a cult ritual on a beach.
Yeah, the cult. Turning back to Faye.
And Faye's like, great. So,
Plus, show Faye what you can do.
And Shadowfell looks around and she's like, I feel like she's gonna kill me.
Yeah, most people feel like that when they meet Faye, but it's fine. She barely ever does.
And Shadowfell, like, smiles thinking you're making a joke, and then looks and is like, there's the look of like, oh, you were serious? And then she's like, okay. She takes a step back, and as she steps back, she just disappears and then reappears behind Faye. Faye turns and slaps her. And Faye's like, sorry, you scared me. Sorry. That's a cool party trick, kid. And then I think they both kind of look at you being like, you brought this one into my life. And they both have the exact same expression on their face. It may actually be like the artist like copying and pasting the expression over. Of them both being like, one eyebrow cocked, being like, this is what you brought me here for.
Portals, just poofing. I don't know. I'm desperate. Maybe we can use this to get out? I mean, her.
Faye turns to Shadowfell and is like, what do you think? Can you get out? Shadowfell looks around and she's like, I couldn't do it on my own, but lots of books. Might be something here. I heard ours aren't ours, but maybe I can help you figure it out.
Oh, God, I don't want to go back to the books. I don't want to go back to the books.
And Shadowfell goes over to one of the books and starts flipping through it. And I think almost immediately she's like, oh yeah, no, I recognize this. This is a kind of basic dark magic stuff. Like,
I think we got a Faye Supai, like, shooting eyes at each other, like, what? Moment.
And Shadowfell's like, I mean, well, hey, hold on. And she holds the book up and she's like, I mean, you're starting at the right place. This is kind of where you want to be looking. This is like Dark Magic 101 for idiots, but like the hell version. So it's like Dark Magic 101 for basic demons or something. I don't know. But yeah, can you show me where you got this book? I can probably find more. And I think Faye, like, points over to, like, a section where, like, 4 or 5 books are pulled out. And Shadowfell just, like, portals over and is, like, hanging on the shelf by one hand, like, with the other hand, like, pointing across books. And she's like, this one might work. And then she grabs it and poofs back. And she opens it up and she's like, yeah, we can totally make this work. We're gonna need a couple things first. Could you get some stuff for me?
If I don't have to look in another book, I will do anything. I will go fight that Medusa if it keeps me from having to look in these stupid books for another minute.
Faye looks at you and then looks at the Medusa on the wall in the, like, wall of, like, head demons. And she's like, that Medusa?
I don't care which Medusa.
Supai, chill for one sec. wait, you fought Medusa? And Shadowfell's like, I mean, no, I ran away from Medusa. I met Medusa. She tried to kill me, but I met her.
We've been in here reading books when there's Medusas to fight. Okay.
Faye is like, all right, what do we need? We'll have to obtain a black crystal from the top of the mountain. We'll risk danger from everything, but specifically one of the high demons, who is a high demon of deception. I don't know, we don't know their name, but there's a demon that is deceptive at the top of the mountain. And the best we're going to be able to do is a lesser version, unreliable, unlimited. We said this is counting as our sanctuary, so we're using it as a sanctuary.
Cool.
She flips through the book and she's like, okay, so this crystal. She points to like a black crystal. She's like, I know there's a bunch of them near the top of the mountain. Based on the research I've been doing, or that I did back on Earth, you can use these to channel powers more aggressively. I can't channel my jumping through them, but I think if we can use your telekinesis to, like, force my powers into the crystal, we can probably use it to repower that portal. And then there's a demon up there, high demon, very deceptive, changes form, master of giving you exactly what you want at exactly the wrong cost. And I think she points up at the wall, and we see a demon that looks very much like a person, except the face is just completely scratched out. Like, I don't know that there was ever a face there. It's just been clawed away. And she's like, that one. I don't know if we're going to be able to make it work to get you back to where you launched from, but we can probably get back to Earth somewhere.
That's good enough for me, personally.
Faye's like, yeah, okay, sure. So, we're going up the mountain, kid. You coming with, Shadowfell? And I think Shadowfell's like, I mean, if you want me to, I can. Faye turns to you and is like, what do you think?
It's her plan.
Great. Then, let's do it. Let's go get out of hell. I think we cut to the three of us, like, at the base of the mountain. We've kind of fashioned, like, weapon after weapon since we've been kind of, like, working here. So, like, I think we each have, like, a spear made out of a bone that we've, like, sharpened and made into something like a spear. I have my flail over my shoulder. We've given Shadowfell, like, a spear as well.
I think I'm carrying around the hammer that the thing was using at the forge.
Cool. And as we see you, like, pick up the hammer, it triggers a flashback. And we go back to 2 months earlier, which we see the end of the previous issue, where we see you being like, I think we're going to be here for a little bit longer. And then the next couple panels are Faye just running across this battlefield and running through this woods and running into the tower and then running down it. And we see her get to the forge room, to the forge, and it's completely empty. The fire's not even coals, it's just, like, cold. And she puts her hand on it, and it's, like, it's not hot anymore. There's no metal anywhere, there's no weaponry anywhere. The only thing left is the hammer. And I think she picks it up, and she looks around the room, and then we get a panel of the room, like, spread out and big. And she says, Amber? And then we cut back to you holding the hammer. So, we're at the base of the mountain. You have, like, shouldered the hammer. I have shouldered the flail. I think we had made some, like, rudimentary weapons as well. Like, I think we had made, like, spikes to put in front of, like, the entrance to the tower to, like, protect us if we ever were, like, we both need to sleep really, really desperately. So I think we've, like, ripped a couple of those spikes out. We've given at least one or two to
Did we establish that the trees here were iron?
Steel, yeah.
Steel, okay. Ooh. Can we give Shadowfell, like, a branch that's obviously been, like, melted off of one of the trees?
Yeah.
And, like, melted into a vaguely sharp point?
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Yeah, so I think the spikes that we had made were all these, like, melted iron, steel points.
One tiny little detail. I want them to still have wood grain.
I love that. They still have the wood grain. And the three of us are looking up this mountain, and the mountain looked big. when we were pulled back and we saw the full thing. Up close, this mountain is massive. And the woods thin out about part of the way up, and it looks like it becomes, like, more of a, like, climbing up, like, sheer rock edges and, like, ledges and stuff. And I'm like, it's a good thing one of us can fly, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think we get Supai looking at their broken arms like, yeah, this would suck otherwise.
Yeah. Alright, so we climb?
Yeah, I guess we climb.
Alright, I think we just start walking through the woods.
Moon Harbor Heroes is produced by Anthony Sheets and TP Huth and edited by Anthony Sheets. Anthony can be found on Twitter at Icy New Year or at icynewyear.com. T is the host of Incubator on Air, a new play podcast available on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, and Google Play. They can be found at T Huth Playwright on Twitter or TPHuth94 on Instagram. This issue was GM'd by me, Anthony Sheets, and Faye was played by T Huth. The music for this issue was Halls of the Undead by Kevin MacLeod. A link to the license and his website will be in the show notes. Our logo was designed by Beautiful Beasties. She can be found on Instagram at beastly.doodles or on Patreon at patreon.com/beautifulbeasties. If you want to get a hold of us, email us at moonharborheroes@gmail.com or on Twitter at moonharborcast. If you enjoyed this issue, please consider leaving us a review on iTunes and recommending it to friends. Word of mouth is really the best way for us to bring these stories to more people. If you'd like to support us financially, check us out on patreon.com/moonharborheroes. Supporting us there will give you access to bonus episodes each month. And thanks for helping us save the world. We'll see you next issue.